Hey guys, welcome back to rhrjen. I'm so glad you're here. Guys, I have such a good show for you today. I have two big stories I want to talk to you about. The first one is about Meghan's Cookie Queens, and it's already sounding like it's flopping pretty hard. We're getting some early reports back. It doesn't sound good. So I want to talk about that. And I also want to talk about, I know I can't stand him either, but Plastic Man is being raked over the coals right now. Plastic Man being Meghan's pal, Omid, or former pal, Omid. And I want to talk about the most hilarious review I've seen in a long time about a book he just wrote. So if you're new here, I'm Jen. Make sure you're subscribed, hit the thumbs up, and leave me comments, as all of those helps YouTube to recommend my videos. And again, a huge thank you and sincere thank you for everybody who has hit the hype button. I just want you to know how much it helps and how much it truly means to me. Now, let's jump in, shall we? Again, I have two big stories for you. I'm going to kick it off with this Cookie Queens thing because, oh my goodness gracious, here we go. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's Sundance screening falls flat, empty seats and high ticket prices. Now, I got this off of AOL. OK is reporting this. Daily Beast is reporting this. I think it's funny that OK is reporting this because I think that's one of those that had previously been kind of a Sussex mouthpiece, but doesn't sound good. Let's talk about it. So that Sundance Cookie Queens thing, I have some thoughts on that. I want to read this article, but I want to tell you. So there have been all these stories that came out, and I told you at the time what I felt like was happening was this is Meghan's way to try to get into Oscars. I did some research and some digging, and I found out if you can get your film into Sundance and it does well, sometimes that's the quickest, easiest path to the Oscars. Well, key emphasis on doing well. And it sounds like this one is not at all. Now, it was also pushed out that Meghan and Harry joined much later in the thing. It was already in the screening process, if I remember correctly, when they joined on as executive producers. And I thought, well, that's just them trying to get their foot in the door. Again, finding out maybe that it had been accepted at Sundance or whatever. And I still stand by that, but I actually wonder because I'm seeing more stories reporting on that they came in so late. And I started thinking, is that Meghan pushing out that narrative? We came on late. It already sucked before us. You know what I mean? Like that would be so her to brag that they're executive producers on this movie. And then when it flops, oh no, we came on late. It's not our fault. Okay, Meghan. Anyway, but let's take a look at this because this is interesting. Wait till you hear some of the ticket prices that are happening and the empty seats. But Harry and Meghan attended of course, the January 25th screening of Cookie Queens at Sundance Film Festival. Okay. But the event did not sell out as anticipated. The theater had empty seats. They thought about 150 remained unoccupied. And it sounds like they had to push to get people in. And then it ended up being about 60 seats that were unfilled. Now, I looked into it and I believe it held, let's see, it says somewhere in here. I want to say it was like 1,300 seats, something like that. In this venue. And it's very rare. They said that that's not a thing. Typically, all the seats, yeah, it's 1,300 is the capacity for this thing. And it's very rare and unusual for a Sundance premiere to have empty seats. Usually, they're turning people away at these things, especially at something that would be considered, I'm not saying this is, but a hot ticket event. They refer to, I think it was Olivia Colman. Big fan of hers. If you don't know, she's been in lots of stuff. She played like the villain in Fleabag, if you didn't see that. But anyway, I think she had a film there. There was somebody else. It doesn't matter. Anyway, a lot of people have films there and they're turning people away, but not so much this one. 150 empty chairs. So let's talk about that. The Eccles Theater. Yeah. So a source revealed that the high cost of tickets, particularly the express badges, priced at $6,900. What are we talking about? Now, I looked into this because I didn't understand how that worked. And thank you to my friend who helped fill in the gaps on this because I didn't fully understand it. But it sounds like there are different kinds of passes. When I heard that, I thought, how in the world? Who is what? Okay, but it sounds like you can get badges, and I'm not saying that's still okay, but you can get badges that get you into pretty much anything you want to go into for these exorbitant prices like this. Okay. At Sundance, meaning. But realistically, it sounds like, again, based on my Googling, I've never been to Sundance, but the way I'm understanding it is there's all kinds of badges. These badges that they're referring to are about $6,900. And they're mostly for like VIPs and industry pros, things like that. They give you priority entry into screenings, parties, events, things like that. Holders can reserve spots in advance and often um, skip the lines. They can skip less appealing slots, things like that. So many express holders supposedly passed on this cookie queens. And so there weren't the VIPs that Meghan and Harry want you to believe were there. So there are other passes that range, like they have a $750 pass, which is considered a basic festival pass. They go all the way up to $25,000 for premium packages. They allow access, no wait list risks, all this crazy stuff. Anyway, but let's talk about individual tickets, things that the public might try to, they would pay for screenings like this. Typically, it's said that those cost about $30 to $50 per screening, but they sell out fast online, typically at that. So wait lists are common and people line up hoping that there will be no shows and then they fill from the wait list. Okay. From what I could tell on this one, they're estimating that tickets went between 50 and 150 per seat to this thing, and they could not get people to pay that. Don't blame them. But they couldn't get people to pay that, so they had to start filling from a wait list, but there were not people filling the wait list as is typical tradition where they'd bring them in and let them sit. So they still had a massive amount of empty seats. So Meghan addressed the audience before filming began, stating, "Thank you so much for being here bright and early. I know some of you probably had late nights last night, so extra thanks for the effort." So that's another thing that they pointed out, is that sometimes it can mean that they sense a flop when they schedule you early in the morning like that. Again, I've never been there, but that's how I'm understanding it. So they must have sensed, maybe based on ticket sales or something else, that this thing was not going to do well. I just want you to keep this in your head as you hear Harry and Meghan. I don't even know if we'll hear more about this, but trying to promote this thing. And oh, here you go. It was Olivia Wilde had the invite premiering at a packed house the previous night. Many ticket holders were turned away from the event, highlighting the stark contrast to these two screenings. So just keep that in your mind. Other screenings saw significant attendance. And here you go. It was Olivia Colman. They also had Natalie Portman. There was something called Buddy. They call it a less glamorous title. I'm not familiar with it. Also had a full house, leaving some attendees disappointed. Meghan's appearance as an executive producer was notable, as she seldom speaks at Sundance events. But I don't think we can say she seldom speaks, because she seldom lets go of a microphone at any event she attends. She suggested that the audience may have been recovering from late night festivities the night before. Okay, so there you go, laying the groundwork for why there was poor attendance. Cookie Queens even garnered additional publicity when they made a surprise appearance at another premiere in nearby Salt Lake City. Despite their efforts, their production company, Archwell Productions, has faced challenges recently. Just recently, I think they overall faced challenges with Love. Meghan will reportedly not return for season 3. Oh no. And the company reportedly has only a few employees remaining. So not looking good at all. Just some reminders of some awkward moments that happened during her post-screening speech praising the filmmakers. Meghan had to edge out from behind the director to speak, which has been captured in viral clips as cringy, unpolished. She gushed about the project's heart and how it aligns with Archwell's empowerment focus. But detractors called it forced. Media war and Sussex Squad backlash. Of course, they're always trying to spin it the other way and say, no, 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 that's not true. It's sold out. No, no, no. It's being reported that there are many empty seats, and that doesn't seem to be the case with the other ones. I just want you to think about the overall pattern here. Archwell's output, such as like Heart of Invictus, Live to Lead, they, I mean, they seem to have flopped as well. Meghan's projects flopped. Like, I would think they must be in crisis PR mode. I'm not that that'll help, but I don't know how you bury your head in the sand that much. Of course, things can go bad here and there, but over and over and over flops. But it's just like them to just blame everything else and not take any accountability whatsoever. I think it says a lot. If you have a ticket that you paid almost $7,000 for that would get you entry into anything, and you still choose not to see something like this, I think it's more than just a coincidence that there were a lot of empty seats. I think that's more of a statement. They had to literally open the doors to waitlist people. I think that's interesting. So that way it didn't look quite so empty. I would like to know, did those people end up having to pay anything to get in? How did that work? The movie's about little girls selling cookies to fund their dreams, which is, great on paper, but then you have these two greedy monsters trying to headline it or make it about themselves, especially her. It doesn't match. It doesn't go together. It doesn't matter how she spins it. It just doesn't go together. You've lost the room when even Sundance, where people will sit through 4-hour experimental documentaries, they just can't be bothered to show up for the former working royals, if you can call them that. I think it's just more of underlining and exclamation points that they are completely irrelevant and people are just over them. They went from, whatever they did with the royal family, whatever you choose to believe that they did, to this. And it's just interesting to watch them continue to plummet. But that's what I want to talk about on this one. Now I want to get into the Omid of it all, because he is roasted big time. And I want you to hear about this because, I think he's been markled as well. Let's get into this. Let's talk. Omid is being raked over the coals, and it's so funny. Couldn't happen to a worse person. Oh my gosh. I know that's not the saying, don't care. You know what I mean? Let me just remind you, if you're not as familiar with Plastic Man and the history there, of course, he's always been, in my opinion, Meghan's mouthpiece. Since Finding Freedom, he's been slammed as biased. UK tabloids call him Meghan's lapdog, and Scooby-Doo. For scoops that always favor Harry and Meghan, especially Meghan, of course, he denies it. Of course he does, saying that he's just reporting facts. But no, I've been through some of his drivel and talked about what BS and nonsense it is. Endgame's Dutch translation, remember, there was a scandal there where he accused... Deep breath. You know what he did. He says that, it was a Dutch version accidentally named King Charles and Catherine, Princess of Wales. You know what he named them as the Istwards from the Oprah interview. And Omid swore that he never submitted these names, blaming a translation error. That's not how that works. Of course, they so many people came out and said that's BS. That's a cowardly thing that he did. And again, I'd say Meghan was very much involved, in my opinion. Of course, there's tons of bias and fabrication claims. Critics have said his books fabricate drama, aka like the Endgame accused the palace of being against Harry and Meghan. Omid hit back always. It's just always something. It's the same thing Meghan does, where people call out this pattern of behavior and awfulness from the pair of them, but especially her. And then she hits back through People magazine or through Omid's books or things like that. Remember that they, she had denied any involvement. She didn't have to. She decided to deny any involvement in Endgame Sorry, no, it was Finding Freedom. Finding Freedom, she denied any involvement. She didn't say anything about Endgame. But that's where he painted Harry and Meghan as victims of royal, the Eastwards, and media bias. She denied involvement, but in her 2021 court case against the Mail on Sunday, she did admit that she forgot that she helped Omid with that book. Ugh, disgusting. Why? I just don't understand why the rules don't seem to apply for her. She's sitting there calling out that, oh, everybody's against her. And then you look at things like that and you think she's had 10 million chances. If somebody like myself tried to do something like that, I'd be locked up. Jeez. Anyway, so you get the idea there. I can't stand this guy. I still feel like Meghan is very much involved with him, just probably behind the scenes, not so much in front of the scenes anymore. But he's written a new book. And while I'm not here to publicize anything this guy has done, the reviews are so bad, you just have to read it to believe it. Take a look. So he's written this book called, I can't even remember the name of it. It's so stupid. Royal Spin. Okay, great. It's a young adult fiction novel. Who cares? Here's the fun part. So the Telegraph. Oh, here you go. Well, first of all, it's a romantic comedy novel by him and somebody else about American PR expert who moves from the White House to Buckingham Palace to manage royal scandals, navigating palace politics, culture clashes, and two love interests, a charming reporter and a forbidden duke. Ugh. Okay. No thanks. Here we go. This is my favorite article ever. This is courtesy of the Telegraph. You ready? Meghan's confidant has written a novel so bad, AI would disown it. Omid Scobie, the writer of much maligned expose, in quotation marks, Endgame, turns to fiction with royal spin. It's hopelessly bad from start to finish. Don't read it. Let's just read the review. This is too funny. I have big news for the embattled publishing industry. People have been fretting that artificial intelligence will absorb the entire history of human creativity. And hold on, I can't see around my logo there. Let me make that better. Okay. And drown us in generic versions of novels, television, and films. In the process, millions will lose their jobs. Well, I'm here to tell you that Omid Scobie has solved the problem. Oh, there you go. The robots can't turn art into slop when humans have already done the job for them. I thought that was so funny and just so clever. Scobie, supposedly a journalist, has turned to fiction with a slop fest called Royal Spin. What other option does he have? I feel like Meghan is publicly, that was not on purpose, disowned him or just not acknowledging him publicly. So, I mean, not that would help anyway, but I just think it's interesting. Like, again, what other choice does he have? He was so panned from the BS he pulled in his other books. And so now he's writing fiction. Oh my goodness. Okay. So Scobie, supposedly a journalist, has turned to fiction with a slop fest called Royal Spin. It's a wacky rom-com about a quirky American who gets a whimsical job, director of communications for the eccentric royal family. Lauren, our heroine, has been working for the White House. All details about who might be occupying that White House are tastefully deleted. Less specificity ruined the good mood. But after suffering a difficult breakup, she flings herself over to London. There, she's enjoined to teach the inhabitants of Buckingham Palace, who are generic, one-dimensional royal figures, about scandal management, diversity, and love. Oh my God. I cannot with this nonsense. Scobie knows a bit about scandal himself, having proved with Endgame his 2023 expose of the royal family's internal scraps. You don't need to engage in careful reporting to sell a book. Just do some name dropping, pick a side, Meghan, to whom he's long been close, and the outrage will do the work for you. He wrote Endgame himself, but for Royal Spin, he has shared writing duties with young adult writer Robin Benway. Her presence might, if nothing else, save him from the accusation of misogyny that Endgame sparked. Oh, that's interesting. Throughout Royal Spin, it's easy to pick out the inspirational source material. Lauren is relatable, clumsy, and broadly cool. You can find her progenitors in 1990s TV shows such as Ally McBeal and Sex and the City. She gets the job by wowing everybody with her impressively specific knowledge, just like the climactic scene in Legally Blonde. She could be played in the TV adaptation, and one is, alas, in the works. What? By Jennifer Lawrence, or maybe de-aged Reese Witherspoon. What? No way is this in the works. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? I mean, it's just another thing to flop, but I wonder if Meghan's going to try to sign on to be cast or an executive producer or some other such nonsense. The plot doesn't matter, but I live to inform. Let's see. There's a disgraced but hunky duke and a cute reporter. And from the second they're introduced into the story, you know how this is going to go. Because you too, if you're actually reading Scobie's novel, have probably put on one of those straight to streaming romance films after one glass of red too many. But no one reads these things for the plot. They read them to place themselves imaginatively in the place of the protagonist, which might as well wear a sign around her neck saying, "Your picture here." Beyond that, nothing will surprise or impress you, even by genre standards. This is drab. There's a blast from the past. There's a workplace entanglement. There's deeply unrealistic portrayal of both media and politics. There's a morally compromising dilemma that, don't worry, folks, turns out fine in the end. Oh, this sounds terrible. And I can read some dumb stuff. Believe me, I love all kinds of books, all kinds. But oh, this sounds awful. Instead of coming up with plot, character, or decent prose, Scobie name drops brands: Celsius, Skims, Postmates, Old Navy, Uber, Prius, Netflix, Prada, Nordstrom, and BTS are all mentioned in the first chapter. Oh my gosh, even Buckingham Palace and the royal family function as a sort of brand. Novels like this turn the human imagination into a shopping mall. You're obliged to envisage not only the eternal tragedy of human frailties, but energy drinks and Pret sandwiches. Oh, I love this review so much. It would be cruel to compare Scobie's novel to, say, a face whose cosmetic interventions have gone slightly wrong. The lift. All right, you ready for this part? It would be cruel to compare Scobie's novel to, say, a face whose cosmetic interventions have gone slightly wrong. The lift jacking the eyebrows into a state of chronic electrocution. But Royal Spin has just that eerie appearance. It looks like a novel. It's being sold as a novel, but it fills you with dark, obscure sadness. Still, it's about the royal family and being sold to Americans. I'm sure it'll be a huge hit. Doubt it. Royal Spin is published by Spears. Okay. That is too funny. I just thought that was such a funny review. And I believe I pulled some comments under this. I thought we could take a look at what people are saying about it. Here we go. What a complete idiot who has absolutely no interconnection to the royal family to extract news about them. He makes it all up. Complete phony. Nobody will want his book of fiction. Just when I'd forgotten all about him. What a fool. Full in a lump of stool. Ooh. All right. Vile man. Exactly that. He looks like a Ken doll. I think that's complimenting him. Yanni. Yeah, it sounds pretty bad. Anyway, I just thought that was too funny. Let me know your thoughts on this. Don't read this crap. Curious to see if this ends up becoming anything. I don't think the book will, but if they end up making it into something, it'll go the way of Meghan's other projects where they talk about it and then nothing happens. Who knows? Also, Meghan will throw herself in the ring to try to play any part she can. So that'll be fun to watch. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. Let me know your thoughts on all this. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did, and I can't wait to bring you more stuff like this. I hope you guys had the best day. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. Hi, how are you? Oh my gosh, don't read this book. Don't do it. I've read some dumb stuff, believe me. I love some rom-com. I've read some young adult stuff. Did I read the entire Twilight series? Yes, I did. Did I read all the 50 Shades? Yes, I did. I've read way embarrassing stuff. This is not it. I will not be reading this. This sounds like drivel. And I'm laughing about how bad this book review is, but I'm not laughing about how evil. I do think he's evil. I think he's evil in the way he tried to hurt the royal family and the things that he did and said. And I do believe with everything in me, I believe that Meghan is very much behind it as well. They may not publicly still be putting on a united front so much, but I feel like that she's, anything evil toward the royal family like that, I feel like it's connected back to her. So again, birds of a feather, two creepy birds of a feather. That's going to do it for me. Let me know your thoughts on all this. Thank you guys for being here. I'm trying to go pinks and reds leading up to Valentine's Day. So I'm what did I just say? Tickled pink today. I hope I hope you guys have the best day, and I can't wait to bring you more stuff like this. Take care. Bye-bye.